The lights inside the America's Got Talent theater glow brighter than ever, washing over rows of eager faces waiting for the next act. Backstage, a small man stands quietly near the curtain, his shoulders slightly hunched, his gray hair neatly combed, his hands trembling not from fear but from memory. His name is Manuel Reyes, a 70-year-old carpenter from a small coastal town in the Philippines. For most of his life, he built doors for other people, never imagining he would one day walk through one of his own. Tonight, America does not yet know his name, but by the end of the night, they will never forget it. Manuel grew up in the province of Leyte, where mornings began before sunrise and childhood ended early. His father was a fisherman who never returned from the sea during a violent storm, leaving Manuel's mother to raise 4 children alone. At 10 years old, Manuel stopped going to school and started carrying wood planks for local builders, learning the craft by watching older men shape raw timber into homes. He discovered early that wood listened to him, that with patience and care, broken pieces could become something strong. Music entered his life quietly, through an old radio his mother kept wrapped in cloth to protect it from dust. Late at night, when his siblings slept, Manuel would listen to love songs and folk ballads from faraway places, singing softly so no one would hear. By the time he was 20, Manuel was known as one of the hardest working carpenters in town. He married his childhood sweetheart, Rosa, a seamstress with a laugh that filled every room. Together, they dreamed small dreams, a sturdy house, enough food on the table, maybe school for their children. Manuel sang at home sometimes, holding his guitar while Rosa cooked, but he never sang in public. In his mind, music was a luxury, something meant for people with money, education, and confidence. He was just a carpenter, and carpenters did not chase applause. Life, however, had other plans. When Manuel was 45, Rosa became seriously ill. The doctors said treatment was expensive, far beyond what a carpenter could afford. Manuel worked longer hours, sometimes building furniture through the night, his fingers bleeding as he pushed himself past exhaustion. He sold his tools one by one, then his motorcycle, then finally his guitar. Rosa passed away before he could save enough. On the night of her funeral, Manuel stood alone in their half-finished house and promised himself he would never sing again. Music hurt too much. Years passed. His children grew up and moved away, some to Manila, one eventually to the United States. Manuel stayed behind, repairing roofs, fixing doors, surviving quietly. His voice aged with him, growing deeper, heavier, carrying a weight that even he did not fully understand. Neighbors sometimes asked him to sing at small gatherings, but he always refused. The dream he once had was buried beneath responsibility and regret. Then, one evening, everything changed. Manuel's youngest granddaughter, visiting from California, found an old video on her mother's phone. It was a clip of America's Got Talent. She watched wide-eyed as ordinary people transformed their lives in minutes. She turned to her grandfather and asked, half-jokingly, "Lolo, why don't you try this show?" Manuel laughed, but something inside him stirred. That night, unable to sleep, he borrowed a guitar from a neighbor and sang for the first time in decades. His voice cracked, but it carried truth. For the first time since Rosa's death, he felt close to her again. Encouraged by his family, Manuel auditioned online. He recorded the video in one take, sitting on a wooden stool he built himself. He did not expect anything. When the email came inviting him to audition in America, he thought it was a mistake. It took his children pooling their savings and a community fundraiser to buy him a plane ticket. As he boarded the flight, it was the first time he had ever left the Philippines. He carried Rosa's old handkerchief in his pocket, whispering a prayer as the plane took off. Now, standing backstage at AGT, Manuel feels impossibly small. He watches younger contestants warming up, dancers stretching, singers rehearsing runs he could never do. A producer asks if he is ready. Manuel nods, even though his heart feels like it might burst. When his name is called, he walks onto the stage slowly, each step echoing in the massive theater. The audience claps politely, unsure what to expect from an elderly man with a worn guitar. The judges smile kindly. Simon Cowell leans forward, curious but cautious. Sophia asks Manuel where he is from. When he says the Philippines, the crowd cheers. Howie asks what he does for a living. Manuel answers simply, "I am a carpenter." There is a gentle laugh from the audience, not mocking, just surprised. Then Simon asks the question that matters most, "Why are you here?" Manuel pauses. His voice shakes as he says he is here for his late wife, because she always believed he could sing, and because he wants to prove that even old dreams deserve one last chance. The room quiets as Manuel begins to play. The first notes are simple, almost fragile. He sings an old love song, one he used to sing to Rosa late at night. His voice is not perfect. It carries cracks, breaths, and years of pain. But within seconds, something changes in the theater. The audience leans in. The judges stop smiling and start listening. Each word feels lived in, earned through loss and survival. Halfway through the song, Manuel's hands begin to tremble. Memories flood back, the nights he sang to Rosa in their tiny kitchen, the promises they made, the ones he could not keep. His voice breaks, and for a moment, it seems like he might stop. Then he looks up, straight ahead, and keeps going. The sound that comes out is raw and powerful, filling the room with a truth that no training can teach. Simon's eyes glisten. Sophia covers her mouth. Howie shakes his head slowly, in disbelief. The audience is silent, many wiping tears away. When the final note fades, there is a heartbeat of stillness, then the entire theater erupts. The crowd rises to its feet, cheering louder than anyone expected. Manuel stands frozen, overwhelmed, bowing slightly as if apologizing for taking up so much emotion. The judges begin to speak, but their words are almost lost in the applause. Sophia tells Manuel his voice carries a lifetime of love. Howie says that was not just a performance, it was a story. Simon struggles to speak. He pauses, takes a breath, and admits that he rarely gets emotional, but this reminded him why the show exists. He tells Manuel that talent like this cannot be measured by age or polish, only by honesty. Then comes the moment no one saw coming. Simon stands up. The crowd gasps. He looks at Manuel and says that sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is finally let themselves be heard. He reaches for the golden buzzer. Time seems to slow as he presses it. Golden confetti explodes from above, raining down like sunlight. Manuel drops to his knees, sobbing openly. He clutches Rosa's handkerchief, tears streaming down his face as the audience chants his name. Simon walks onto the stage and helps him up, embracing him as the confetti continues to fall. In that moment, the old carpenter from Leyte is no longer invisible. He is seen, celebrated, and loved by millions. Backstage, producers tell Manuel he is going straight to the live shows. He can barely understand the words. He keeps repeating, "Thank you," over and over, as if afraid this is all a dream. That night, he video calls his family. His children cry. His granddaughter screams with joy. Manuel holds the phone close and whispers that he did it for their grandmother. As the weeks go on, Manuel's story spreads across America and beyond. People see themselves in him, the dreams they buried, the chances they thought they missed. Carpenters, factory workers, immigrants, grandparents all over the country find hope in his voice. Manuel practices every day, not to be perfect, but to honor the moment he was given. No matter how the competition ends, one thing is certain. An old Filipino carpenter walked onto a stage and reminded the world that it is never too late to sing your song. Dreams do not have an expiration date, and sometimes, the quietest lives carry the loudest truths.